I want to go right now live to the launch of the campaign of Kwabena Agyepong as a flag bearer for the NPP. He is launching his campaign for that bid. That's that on your shot right now as we pick that live for you.
Not done right. Where did we lose our way? These questions, people of Ghana, were on our minds and informed our hopes when we entered the Fourth Republic. 33 years into the Fourth Republic, we must of course reflect on how much we have fulfilled what we set out to achieve with it. The Fourth Republic, it is important to remind ourselves, was born out of adversity with the sweat, the tears, and blood of many Ghanaians. I ought to know, for my dear father and some of his colleagues were victims of this brutal process that eventually led to the return of constitutional democracy. People were locked up in prison without trial. Some were exiled, made jobless. Others lost their businesses and possessions. Yet some paid the ultimate price. They were callously murdered. Has it therefore been worth it? Has it therefore really been worth it? Our current situation has led to a demoralized, despondent, and disillusioned population. A growing sense of apathy has gripped the youth and twisted their mindset on what it means to serve our country. According to the recent housing census, 25% of households live in temporary ramshackle structures. 60% of us in abject poverty and misery. And sadder still, 50% of national security budget is expended on managing land and chieftaincy disputes and conflicts. A country that can no longer deliver services is a source of worry and a strain among decent people. Poor sanitation, galamsey, high unemployment, deficient city planning, resulting in a chaotic explosion of slum settlements, falling standards of education, perilous health care, undernutrition, land conflicts, and many more are unwanted features of our current existence. For some time now, my heart has been troubled over the direction of our country. I recite these facts not for the purposes of casting innuendos or aspersions. I recite them to admit our sad reality. And we must first acknowledge that where we find ourselves now is not where our forebears envisioned us to be as a country. The time has come for us to change this definitively. And this is where I come in. A time for a new dawn. It is pretty obvious that our country stands in the need of regeneration and renewal. And so does our party, the NPP. We need to usher in a new dawn of astute political leadership with a clear vision that inspires hope in the youth and rekindles the faith of all Ghanaians in our constitutional democracy. The country must heal from the chronic polarization that has become an ugly feature of our politics, even within political parties. Polarization is now at an all-time high, stridently divisive. The task ahead of Ghana in trying to reach sustained development is massive. We must all get our loins and prepare to join me on this inspired journey. We, the citizens of Ghana, in a true democracy, are the royals of our beloved country. We must rise and save this country from further decline. Ghana must rise to the heights it should easily be capable of. Our forebears, steeped in historical struggles for freedom, were right when they said in striking construction, Odishie ankwa akwa dwane. So Odishie ankwa akwa dwane. We must put the nation on a war footing, rolling up our sleeves, restoring the culture of hard work, meritocracy, and professionalism back to the workplace. We must unite as a party, more generally as Ghanaians, to lift our country up and achieve our dreams by instilling a renewed sense of urgency, vitality, passion, and patriotism back into our body politic. This new dawn must necessarily include a social chapter that emphasizes the civic responsibilities of we, the citizens, too. In this new dawn, I envision a Ghana that is economically robust, resilient, fiscally responsible, socially cohesive, and fully accountable to the good people of Ghana. The new dawn is hinged on the following. 1, a lean, wholly downsized government, one that works efficiently, effectively to deliver to the aspirations and expectations of the Ghanaian people. The ministries will be reconfigured to align with the constitutional cap of 19 cabinet, to be assisted by an equal number of deputies, in addition to the 16 in the regions, making up a team of 54. Stakeholder consultations will be undertaken to introduce an upper limit of 9 judges on our Supreme Court and possibly remove the retirement age of 70 and allow Supreme Court judges to serve until they are unable to perform their functions. 2, enforcing law and order, imposing discipline and ensuring compliance of rules and regulations. A zero-tolerance policy anchored on a drastic penalty regime, coupled with a strong political will to punish those who tinker with our public treasury. The law should work, and it should work to uproot corruption, protect individual rights and property rights. 3, cutting waste in the public sector by ensuring that there is value for money in public procurement. And here, I'll draw heavily on my considerable engineering background to facilitate the freeing up of vital resources to support the empowerment of the youth through technical education, entrepreneurship, and small business startups. 4, restore meritocracy and professionalism back to the civil and public services by significantly reducing unbridled politicization and interference. It is time to end the wasteful seminars, workshops, fora, and expensive retreats, and rather move into the implementation mode, utilizing recommendations of the huge volumes of reports that are gathering dust. 5, urban regeneration and renewal. And of course, with my background, this is very dear to my heart. The current urban ecosystem is dysfunctional. A structured, coordinated, and integrated approach must be adopted and implemented to create more livable cities and human settlements where basic needs do not become a permanent dream. A technical advocacy committee of the professional bodies within the built environment, I mean the surveyors, the planners, the architects, and my colleague engineers, will be set up to help resolve the challenges thereof. 6, entertainment and sports. In the creative arts, the issue of protection of intellectual property and copyright is very important. The creatives need to be empowered to own their own work, earn a decent living from their talent. It is a sector that has the potential to absorb our teeming youth, and it is my dream to see these creatives thrive in Ghana. My passion for sports is public knowledge. Nevertheless, Ghana cannot be the jack of all sports and master of none. Soccer, boxing, athletics will obviously be prioritized with a focus on school sports and cold soccer. We've got to revive the interest in our Premier League and restore the organic link that used to exist between our communities and traditional football teams. And of course, the all-important role of government in football administration in Ghana. I can see a bright future. We can create a competent state, one that works at pace, one that ensures compliance with rules and regulations and enforces its own regulations. This is a collective task, And that will need people of every gender, all faiths, people from all parties, every single ethnic group in the country, peasants, workers, bosses, everyone. We are the royal people of Ghana. Our country needs us, and we must step up to the challenge. We cannot change things by simply doing the same things that got us into this spot of bother. Leadership is of critical importance in social relations everywhere in this world. And Ghana is no exception. And Ghana needs leadership regeneration. To take Ghana to the promised land we all desire, we need a new lease of life, new energy, systems thinking, and structural approaches that cause us to change course. We must agree on this: the new dawn, the new direction, and a new dimension. At the level of our party primaries, 5 of my co-contestants are still members or former members of the economic management team. Another has been part of the system in Parliament and is a board chairman of a very vital public utility. Whilst we are all brothers, and hopefully when we soon start talking about presidential primaries in our party, we should be saying brothers and sisters. But unfortunately, there's no lady in the 10 aspirants so far. We must be honest enough to admit that the Akufo-Addo government, despite chalking successes in road and health infrastructure, tourism, and of course education, it has struggled to deliver on a number of fronts. We started out saying that we were breaking dependency on the Western donor agencies. The slogan, Ghana Beyond Aid, rang from the Jubilee House with intensity and vigor. But today, we lie on a stretcher before the International Monetary Fund, the IMF, and Ghana has become, in the eyes of many, a case study of how not to do it. It is true that the international climate has been hostile. But how many countries have had inflation skyrocket to 54%? And in fact, food inflation hitting the roof. And our city only just slightly recovering after a wild tailspin last year. These are stark signals of economic distress, and we cannot hide these facts. We've had to endure a painful debt exchange program with our pensioners laying siege at the finance ministry. Our party, the NPP, cannot afford to put forward those who led us to this state. I want to repeat myself. Our party, the NPP, therefore, cannot afford to put forward those who led us to this state and expect Ghanaians to embrace them during the 2024 election. We need a new face, a pair of clean hands, a leader to reconnect with our base and earn the trust of Ghanaians. I humbly submit, I, Kwabena Agyepong, offer the hope of a fresh start for Ghana. It is a matter of public record that I've always availed myself to this tradition. More importantly, for example, in the run-up to the 1992 election, under the Rawlings dictatorship, when it was life-risking to be associated with the NPP. I'm not a newcomer. I did not join our great tradition midstream after the danger abated. I have served this party right from the get-go and in many capacities. I was there when it mattered most and also when the party was at the peak of its glory. I gathered valuable experience doing so, sitting at the feet of some of the revered leaders of our tradition, the likes of the Venerable B.J. Darocha, Stephen Kreku, Peter Alajete, Albert Dubuahin, T.D. Brodements, R.R. Amponsa, Kwame Donkofojo, Alhaji Bin Sali, Roland Al-Hassan, Gianni Selby, J.H. Mensah, His Excellency Aliyu Mahama, and of course, my boss, President John Ejekun Kufuor, who I dutifully served for over 5 years. I have served this party selflessly and sacrificed for this country. I learned, I grew, and I patiently climbed the ladder. So once again, Engineer Kwabena Agyepong, in all humility, come to you Ghanaians to ask for your support. I wish to serve you as flag bearer and eventually President of the Republic. To lead this country with your collective energies and hopes, mine is a burning desire to serve the party and country with a clear conscience, pure motives, and solid character. I overhope for a new beginning, a clean break from the status quo that has become associated with our tradition in recent times, a leadership that understands people, loves people, and helps people. I promise inclusive leadership, one that unites the country from Hamile to Pusiga, through Kintampo to Elubo and Aflao, one that restores the dignity of our people and gives every citizen a reasonable opportunity to live out their full potential so that we can secure our common future. I am equipped to provide that sort of leadership, and I'll restore the party as a genuinely united force to enhance our capacity to deliver that elusive third consecutive victory in 2024. Today, I ask for God's support, the Almighty God, to guide me to serve you, Ghana. I ask for your commitment to Ghana. That commitment should lead our delegates to make the right choice for leadership. Nobody thinks more highly than I do of the dedication and valor of our gallant foot soldiers, through whose sweat and toil we have come this far. I urge party delegates to consider this. You retain the power of choice. The future of our country, future of our party rests in your hands. You have a sacred responsibility to choose the leader of our party, NPP, the next leader of our party, the NPP, with wisdom and forethought. We should not allow materialism to rule our political space. The fight for the soul of this country is in its very crucial stages. Whatever decision you make in the upcoming election, the effect may be felt several years down the line in the remotest hamlet in this country. It is time to vote values, to vote principles, and to vote character. Let us Ghanaians restore authenticity, integrity, and substance back into our political landscape, and not allow ourselves to be bamboozled with excitable slogans on a bandwagon that leads us nowhere. We must dispel that fog of uncertainty. We, the NPP, are the tradition that believes in creating a world of plenty. We must all be determined. We must all be determined to make this country that shining example that all Africans were proud to say is on this our continent. That, the people of Ghana, is my prayer. May God help us all, and may God bless our homeland, Ghana. Thank you very much for your attention.
Ladies and gentlemen, please let the applause be louder for the man of vision and integrity and the man of the moment. Shall we sing this song? We na our body, engineer go we know, engineer is the winner again. Oh, sing it, winner. Let me hear you say, hey, winner, engineer is the winner, engineer is go win again. Oh, win. Ladies and gentlemen, please be seated as we do a question and answer section.
Before that, I think I can see my Reverend Minister for my church, from Sinai, Kwabena, retired COP. I didn't see you when I got in, so I'm very grateful that the Methodist Church is right behind me and you give me the spirit. Thank you very much. The media is allowed to ask a few questions. I will take a few questions if you are here. from A to Z, whatever you want to ask. So you just identify yourself and then you can ask the question.
There is a microphone down there, so once you signal us, you come to the middle lane here and then you ask your question. Thank you very much. Let's see by hands so we can know the number. It's not when it's getting hot and then you raise your hand. I will not pick you after that. So we have one. Who is the other person? Okay. Thank you. Let's go, my brother.
Engineer. Thank you very much for flowers. Ask you questions. I think I've asked you the question before. There's no doubt that your message, the New Dawn, sounds like exactly what we need as Ghanaians. But do you feel that with the current political climate, the odds are stacked against you? All the polls that have come out does not even put you in the first three in the first place. Does that frustrate you that you have this kind of message and it's not received and it's not projected as much as you think it should?
Well, I believe I've now launched my campaign, and I'm very confident that the good people of our party, the delegates, are listening, and that's why we had this very innovative idea to have this media launch. They are watching on all the major networks around the country, so I'm sure the delegates know what I stand for. What is important is what we stand for as Ghanaians, and that is what I've been able to espouse. So as for the polls, I've been around politics for a long time, from 1992. And so, yes, I take some inkling from it, but it doesn't worry me at all. I'm very confident in this message, and I am sure that the party people know what they need in this country, and they will give their vote to KAA to become the flag bearer and eventually the President of the Republic of Ghana. Thank you.
Yeah, good afternoon. An old friend. You keep on saying that the party has departed from, my name is Nana Puku from Daily Searchlight, sorry. Departed from its original norms, the way of doing things, handling things, to a current state where you find some kind of hopelessness in the party. What different thing are you coming to do in case you get nod, you get president, so that the party will go back to its roots? And secondly, if you look at the front runners of this race, your name doesn't appear anywhere. Does that scare you?
Yeah, I think this is the second time this question is being asked. Don't worry at all about that. Underdogs win all the time. It happens. So don't worry that I'm not seen as a front runner. I've said this before and I want to repeat it. There are two front runners. They are there by default. Baumia is the vice president. He's number 2, so he's aspiring to be number 1. That's normal. Alan Shermartin has been number 2 electorally for the last 3 elections. So he wants to aspire to be number 1. But it's important that for Ghanaians to find out what they stand on major issues in the country. I've laid out my program, and that's why I've always challenged them to have a debate, because Ghanaians deserve to know what we are thinking, what our policy differences are, and also to defend our record in government. So I'm very confident. You can't just say somebody is a forerunner because he's there. No. What do they stand for? And it's the duty of you, the media, to ask them what they stand for. I've shown you the 6 planks of my New Dawn. That's what I'm going to do. I've told the Ghanaians what I'm going to do.
Yeah. Okay, thank you. Let's have Hanan. Let's have Hanan from GH1, if I'm not wrong. Yeah, GH1. Yes, Hanan.
Exactly so. Engineer, my name is Abdul Hanan Adam. I work with EIB Network, GH1 TV, and Star FM. Indeed, I've heard you on several occasions. Myself, I've asked you this question, where you indicate that the party delegates should elect someone based on principles and someone who upholds the values and principles of the party. You are also speaking against monetization, among others. I ask you, is it the case that you cannot provide these material things, or you are someone who wants to change the status quo, and how do you intend to do that? Now, secondly, Any other candidate amongst these 10 who are running for this position have indeed indicate what they want to do. Someone is talking about digitization. Someone else is also talking about industrialization. Another person is talking about agriculture, among others. What do you stand for? What is the lane that you are towing to achieve some of these goals and policies that you've highlighted today? Thank you.
I think I outlined about 6 major planks right now in my speech. Most importantly, to send a strong message to the Ghanaian people that when we ask them to undergo austerity, there should be leadership by example. And that as a country, we have to work towards balancing our budget. We cannot operate on deficit financing for the rest of our lives. It's not sustainable. And to be able to do so, we need to send the right signals. Our governments have been too large, and I'm not saying this because I want to be elected as president. It's something I've believed in. I'm sure you watched the video of me in 2015 espousing the same feeling. So that's the first thing, to send a strong signal. It's not about the quantum of money you save by downsizing the government, but the moral message you send to the Ghanaian people that you are serious about what you're doing. Cut down the government pecs. In Ghana right now, it appears people enjoy government pecs more than the work that they are supposed to do. It's important as leaders to lead by example, and that's what I've said. We'll cut down the government. I'll work with a 54 ministerial team, and that's a stark departure for what we have been used in the Fourth Republic. That's a major departure from what you are seeing. So it's a policy plan. Number 2, when I say cut wastage, it's very important because a lot of our debt is buried in graft. Value for money in this country. Projects have been over-invoiced in times past. I would ensure that Ghanaians get value for money. So I'm going to be very significantly different, and this has been outlined in my 6-point plan. So I'm surprised that you didn't get the difference between me and the others. And it's not about rhetoric or sloganeering. It's about real cuts that would ensure that you can free the resources that we require to support youth regeneration, to support entrepreneurship, and the things that we need to rebuild our economy. Thank you.
Good afternoon. Good afternoon. I'm Sandra Otu from Business and Financial Times. So you made mention of urban regeneration and renewal. I want to ask how you seek to achieve that, and why is it limited to the urban centers? Thank you.
It's a figure of speech. When I talk about urban renewal and regeneration, I've been worried about the balkanization of our assemblies. As a country, we started with 110, and now we are what, 260 or 261? Nobody seems to know even the amount of districts. As someone who is a practitioner in the built environment, and my colleague engineers are here, they can testify to the fact. Accra right now has at least 18 or is it 19 municipal assemblies, and it makes it difficult for the engineering functions to be managed. And most of the services that assemblies have to deliver are mostly engineering functions. Water supply, electrical supply, roads, waste management, and all that. So when you have some very DCs who are guarding their turf, and projects have to traverse different districts, it becomes difficult to manage. And that's why I think we have to take a look at our local government system and roll back some of these things. It's important that we regenerate the inner city to make it more livable. Right now, if you look at the forest cover in 1900, and I've studied the maps, and you look at the forest cover now as at 2020, if you look at the digital maps of Accra, we've lost about 60% of our green cover. And that's how come there's a lot of flooding. When it rains in Aburi, it used to take what the engineers call time of concentration. It used to take 8 hours to get to the Odo. Now it takes 3 hours because all surfaces have been paved. They are impermeable now. So there's more runoff, it's creating more floods. And so we need a holistic approach, a basin-wide approach. And that can be done when you have technical people. We need to task our technical people. We need to get them to work. They have the capacity to deliver the answers to us. So I really mean it when I talk about urban regeneration. Why are people traveling from Dodoa to come and work in the ministries when there are so many empty spaces in Adabraka? We've got to go vertical, challenge our architects to design new buildings, new communities where we can have recreational areas. Now there are no areas for people to even sit and walk about. It's all been sold for real estate. That is not how communities survive. The ecosystem has to be restored. And that's why I believe my background as an engineer of significant experience will be brought to the fore when you elect me as president of the country.
Okay. Just before we go for the next ones. Yeah! Oh, yeah, engineer Beba. Thank you. Just before we go for the next question, let me know how many more we have there so that we can wrap up and go to the next segment where we launch the website. So you are 2. 1, 2. Hanan, I think you've come already. Okay. How many here? 2. And then how many here? 1. Good. Right after that, we can go and do the website launch. Thank you so much. Please proceed, my brother.
Okay, engineer. Please, Kofi Asare from TVSYZ and Power FM. You made mention of our sports and being a fan of the sports fraternity. You made mention of our boxing and football. I want to know what, if you are being elected as a president of our nation, what you are going to do to help that ministry.
Well, I think we should have a deliberate policy of creating or recreating the passion that we have for sports. I mean, sports, football is a spectator sport. You can't have the sport successfully when there's nobody in the stadium. Of course, there's competition now because of satellite television and everybody has access to the Premier League outside and all that. But it doesn't stop governments from being very deliberate about it, to support our team. Now, I'll give you one example. Ghana has been to previous World Cups, I think 4 or so over the last 5 times. The money that we made, it never filtered down to where it matters most, Cole's football, which should be a production line of talent. And that is what we have been used to. I cannot, for the life of me, understand why members of executive committees or members of Black Stars management committees can apportion to themselves $100,000 each just for being members of that committee. And when clubs don't have money to pay their players, Premier Division clubs. So we need to have a sit down with the stakeholders. It's very important. And in times past, we had a system that used to work. Strong collaboration between the football teams and their local communities and also the government. The government represents the community. You cannot take government away from football administration. I was totally against that attempt. And I forewarned them in 2006 when it was being done. But they didn't listen. And now look at where we have landed. I think we should have a stakeholder discussion, go back to the basics, the things that used to work for us, the collaboration between GALCA, which is the clubs associations, and the government who provide the resources that we need to build the facilities and support our footballers. It is not right that your taxpayers' money will be used to support the Black Stars to go to the World Cup, but then when they make money out of the World Cup, it is not accounted to us, the Ghanaians. And then the whole ladder, the hierarchy of football never gets to a share in what we get out of these World Cups. So I think I am a football person, I'm a sports person generally. I do believe, and I said it, that we cannot be the jack of all. You know, we have talent in soccer, there's no doubt. We've been great in boxing with the likes of Azuma Nelson, and then athletics, Alisanu and the rest. So we have competitive advantage there. If we concentrate on the schools, and that is why I'm going to reconfigure the Ministry of Sports to go back to its natural home education. So if you look at my 19 ministries, and I'm sure the media has the press pack, it is there clearly for you. You see that youth and sports is back with education. So I'm going to do that. There has to be serious change. Because right now, who is in charge of football administration? There are some people calling themselves football people. Who are they accountable to? Meanwhile, it is our money that is used to support that. And I think that we have to go back to basics. What used to work for us has to be restated, going back to basics. Thank you very much for that question.
Thank you very much. Sir, please, I think you came already. Hanan will not come because we have to go to the next stage. So let me give the gentleman here. Hanan, you came already. You should have asked all your questions. Thank you.
No.
Hello, my brother there. Please, let's have your question. Thank you, Hanan. My good Hanan. Thank you.
Good afternoon. If I me Samuel Adoba, me Ejuma TV Africa. My question on AMU, Bakobe Agric and Education. For instance, me go school with Krasi. Na ye co school no ewe Krasi no. Abra ye real GSS, oko SS no. What the tutorial ma mo eko krum school ni ya ewe Krasi na gab no so pa. There's a lot of remote areas out lights in the hall. And granted to me nanti be 2-3 hours before I send to me ako school. Mr. Agyepong, Pacha, who person be president? New policies ban now with the air bar, a bit me abwa massa and crowd village. Now, baby, who light in her, obi bit me nanti, at the court be 3 hours and send what me education. At the end, I dream for run our day by bit me see Sanya man and no coin. Secondly, after another question, a war, a Greek. Your co school no, say we are born here, near Kuchado, near the amount. As a form of punishment. Inti yenyi ni ehu se ado eye evil. Inti obia kwa no so ode ne hu be hye kwadwuma mu. I think said there is a lot of thing a war in the agri sector. Ghana education needs to change. Ewo ye curriculum nim. Inti policies be na ode ba ebema saa eniema ye wo school no bo say wohwe book bi achi kura na ya draw akokora na ne sisi bi achia akoye sa ne mani nyina wo book ma ye hu no ama attract ye se ye besua ana ye de hu be hye kwadwuma e wakura ase o ba no e de na wo de ba in terms of agric sa ne mani nyina be man kura na mo e wo school mu no o nyini no obetime hu se agric ana se kwadwuma e ya ade a wo ye a e betime aboa be da se.
Who said me for China? You are no, because what the China busa me. Because near Ghana for national country as you. There are other tribes who also have to be respected. And so mama de frefra. Na oka agri kasema na ama meniaji me hu me schoolmates bi wo ha. Ye conference pem. And so me agri science to from 5. To me very passionate about agriculture. Tinansen so here yeah Ghana Poultry Day July 1st now na sen ke so ka se e ka se eno aduane me na me the best chef sen ke so ka so enti agric ya dey da makoma so me kai teacher bi na friend Mr. Boama o che agric science enti yesha no wunim city a ukonkuko bom the way feeding kuko the way duabro na a part of us. It may be true there we can say sometimes punishment is the entire create a certain mindset. But yeah, agricultural science was school. That's how they feel. No? And it is the kind of leadership we give agriculture and then also make KBB. Say, we are the tradition that believes in creating a world of plenty. Yeah, Buffalo, a Juma. We are supposed to be the pro-business tradition. Build Ghanaians to make money. And agrarian area, so if we can showcase Ghanaians, our into commercial farming, our and no be encouraging Nkwalano so Sadi. And there are many areas a bit Diabwa. Exim Bank wo. Sasika no ya jegu da. And so we are allowing people in agriculture to go and compete for credit at the commercial rates. And the interest rate over 40%. Untimi fanko agriculture many. A quine as mefason said to ensure. So one more startups no there. You need Exim Bank, Agri Development Bank. At the engineer said yes, agricultural development. And so we share our portfolio. Just a new 5% grant according to agriculture. Adintra. President Agyepong will insist that they concentrate on their core mandate and deliver. And it is the support and the leadership that you lend to that area. And yet new policy per se. Ghana, Maka, we've practiced almost every economic model. So it's a lack of implementation, it's a lack of enforcement of our own regulations. And when I talk about a new dawn, there will be zero tolerance for these things to ensure that there is the political will to drive the process so that independent and walk away. There's too much impudence in this country. And it's been seen, and nobody gets punished. And to free up the resources that are needed to support startups and to push the youth into agriculture in a major way. The government has set up the tree crop authority. There are a lot of tree crops. Share not nomini cashew nomini idea say ye mangrofokum now ye support them with credit. The value line, the value chain is very strong and it is in need outside. How we build the market linkages inside the idea I'm here determined to do it. They want to assure you, maybe you'll be a great science up to O levels. And many break. Tina, you couldn't wait and I'm the first too. Education as I'm now Canada. I think yes, we have to give credit where it is due. This government has done significantly well, expanding access to education. But me, my worry about education right now and say we foundation in ya. The other basis on the wow. And I'm saying who a teacher for exams by one. So even the quality of our teaching, the emphasis on basic education. First, yeah, conference room, bonds will be free, a siakwa, ele, nebai, a be free, Accra, Rechurch, so nebai, yen nabeshia. So, those days, LA schools, it me building Kolanum, home to me call all the top Ivy schools in Ghana. And to me, I'm very passionate about that. It is not about that who could create be free mass there, but there be right now all the reports that are gathering dust on our shelves in this country is about a lack of implementation and enforcement of what is right for this country. And that is the kind of leadership I want to provide. And I feel that the Almighty God has blessed me with a skill set to be able to deliver that. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, Engineer. Come on, celebrate him with another round of applause. Thank you very much. You've all had your time. Now we have to go to another thing. Thank you so much, Engineer. Did you notice that when they asked about the farmer's question, one of the flag bearers some time ago said that if you want to be poor, become a farmer. But when you ask Engineer, you got the answer. Send a odo equiafo. Maybe to mumbon say money biom. Mumbon say money biom. Mumbon say. Engineer, yedase. Come on, celebrate Engineer one more time. At this point, I want to acknowledge one more time our media partners, City TV, City FM, and all other affiliations. Joy News, that is the multimedia group. We are talking about Joy News, Adum TV, Asempar FM, Love FM, and Inshira FM in Kumasi. I want to say a big thank you to Kesvin TV and Radio in Kumasi and Accra. Then the Despite group of companies, we're talking about UTV, Peace FM, and all its affiliates. And the EIB network, we're talking about GH1 TV. And the Media General, we're talking about TV3. And the Ghana Broadcasting Corporation, want to say a big thank you to GTV, Wuntumi TV and Radio, Assassin Radio, Daily Guide under the newspaper category, Daily Guide newspaper, the Ghanaian Times, and the Ghanaian Chronicle. At this point, we would like to launch our website because as we are going digital, we would like to like our website so that you can follow us and do a lot of things. So please get your phones now. Go with me. Let's go. And if my technical guys are ready, let's do this together. Go to www.kaa for2024.com. KAA for the 4 is FOR. Then you add 2024.com. And once we enter that, you see a very beautiful picture of a man with vision and integrity, a man that leads the new dawn, a man that has great service, who has served the NPP party and leaders without seeking anything in return, in a manner that is devoid of eye service and men pleasing, but a true soldier of the party. Okay, so my technical guys help me display that. Then when we continue, the second one, we will see the sacrifice, the selfless nature, his experience of 26 years, over 26 years, over 10 awards. He is 100% selfless and 100% full of excellence. Great. So that's it, very nice. Then when we go down, we're going to see the subscribe. Now, on that subscribe button, when you click it, it means you can follow the page and then get any updates from the noble gentleman, Engineer Kwabena Agyepong. So let's go. Let's go down. Great. So we see the sacrifice, 10 years plus experience, over 10 plus awards, 9